Hello everyone and welcome back to Crayon Code. Today let's build a nice little day-night switch with sunset and sunrise and a lot of CSS transitions. Make sure you like and subscribe and let's dive right in. Okay, so in this first part we're going to take care of the day phase of the switch. So we're going to start with a checkbox. And it's going to be in checked state, so day state is checked state. And let's give it a CSS class, which just is called day-night switch. And an ID called day-night. You can give it whatever ID you want, but the most important thing here is that the for attribute of the label also has this very same ID as value. And this one is also going to have the day-night switch class, so we can differentiate via the element type. And here the label, the L is missing. Very nice. So that's everything we need for now as markup. You can see we already have a nice little checkbox here, but we actually do not want that checkbox because we want to work with the label here because the checkbox is not very well customizable. So what we actually do first is that we hide it simply with display none. So we can actually take care of the actual styling, which is going to take place in the label tag itself, which means that, let's first define a few variables. Namely the size with, let's set it for 400 pixels, because in the beginning it's always good if you can see things a little bit larger. And since it's going to be a switch, let's make it a little bit lesser high. So size is going to be the width and height is the size divided by 2. Exactly. So, and let's introduce some padding. It's a variable for padding, which is going to be used in multiple spots. And let's actually do it like 4% of the size, because if size changes, I want to change everything proportionally. So that's why we actually use the size and 4% of it for the padding. And this very same we're going to do for the border width, but this time it's going to be 2%. And since we're going to have a lot of CSS transitions, I want the transition duration to be configurable in one central spot. Very nice. So now let's set up the size of the switch. As I said, it's the size variable itself for the width, and for the var, for the height, we're going to use the height var. Oh, yeah, space already reserved. Very nice. And now, since it's a switch, the border radius is going to be the height, because I want the left and the right edge. I want it to be rounded, but not the top edges. So it should not be an ellipse. And we can achieve this by setting the border radius to the actual height of the element. Now let's make it actually visible. Give it a border width, solid white. So now we should actually see, very nice. And let's give the position relative, because we're going to work a lot with absolute positions. So it's good if this one has the relative position. And for convenience, let's make everything transitionable, and we're first time going to use here the transition duration variable and an ease in out easing function. And since this element is actually interactable, let's give it a cursor that actually demonstrates that this is interactable. Very nice. Now let's add the markup for the sun, which is going to be inside the label. And it's a celestial body, because we will be having also a moon, and they have some common styling, which they will share a common class. And there's styling which applies only to the sun, of course. That's why it has 2 CSS classes right now. And let's add another variable, the position for the right margin, because this is where the sun is going to be. The sun is going to be attached to the right side. And this is the size of the entire switch minus the var of the switch size, which, forgot the switch size. The switch size is going to be also calculated, and relatively to its height, minus 2 times, this one is here, superfluous, minus 2 times the padding. And of course, also minus 2 times the border width, because this is also going to be subtracted here. So that's how we define the switch size now. And we have the size minus the switch size minus the padding and minus 2 times the border width. Here's the variables missing. So, and here, yeah, exactly. So we have padding only on the right side here that we actually need to take care of, but the border width is on both sides. So that's how we define the right position. Very nice. Good. So now that we have enough variables, we can actually make the styling for both celestial bodies, so sun and moon. Let's also make here everything transitionable with the transition duration and of course the same ease out function. So the switch itself is going to be the switch size, which is the same for width and the height. And let's give it a border, configure through the border width, and yeah, for the beginning, let's give it a green because we will be defining colors later. Yeah, and forgot something because it's a display, it's an inline block. So that's, okay, I think I messed something up here with the switch size. Yeah, it's not the which size here. So, but still, width should then be all right. So switch size somehow seems to be well-defined. And of course something else is missing. Yeah, here, there. That should be actually height and not here, the double dash. Now, very nice. Okay, so let's continue actually here. Now we will have it positioned absolute. And the top position will be, yeah, let's actually make this the padding for now. So it's nicely centered. And yeah, of course the border radius is still missing, which is going to be its full height. So we want it to be a perfect circle. And for the beginning, yeah, let's actually put it on the position right, which we defined before. So it should be very well aligned on the right side. Very nice. Now for some color, let's give it a nice yellow background color. So very cool, and a nice little bit more orangey color, which I prepared beforehand, AD0D. So yeah, looks much better than with green. Very nice. So and of course you have a beautiful day here, and that's why we're actually going to add a nice blue background border color to the switch itself, which means that in case the switch is checked, the checkbox, and yeah, we want to target the label, which is right next to it. Actual label here. I think I messed something up. No, it's actually quite fine. And yeah, let's actually set the border color to a little bit darker blue and the background color to a little bit more brighter blue. Here, #6CBE-BDE5. Yeah, there it is. There's the blue color. And let's add some additional styles for the, it's going to be inside that block here for every celestial body. And here for the sun specifically, which is going to be, let's move this one here down there, because this one is actually only valid if the sun is up, so during day, and I want to have a transition delay here. We will see later why this is cool, why this is useful. On the actual transition duration. So I want to have transitions on the sun while it is checked. So if we are switching from checked from day to night, I want to have the transitions on the sun delayed by that. So exactly. And when the sun sets, I want it to scale down to 0 to make it a little bit smaller. So I want to ensure that this one here at this position is having scale 1. That's important. So we will see that when we implement the sunset. Now to make it a little bit more nicer, I want to have some mountains in the picture. So let's head back to the markup, which we will be adding a div for the mountains. And we will just have 2 divs in there, one front mountain and one back mountain. And yeah, let's put some nice little styling there. So for the default styling of every mountain, we are going to have the mountains class. Let's make it positioned absolutely. and a display inline block because we want to make it sizable very well. So, and give it a little bit of a top coordinate where we say that it's the switch size in total, and from that 85%, so we want to have it be shifted a little bit up downwards. And same goes for the left, that we are using the switch size as a reference because we want it to be scalable proportionally, and here it's going to be 70%. And now for each div, for each element which is inside, we're also going to have this one absolutely positioned. It's also inline block. Let's give it a border width, which is the very same as we have it for all border width for reason of consistency. Border style is going to be solid, and we will have the borders transition from a little bit lighter gray at day to a little bit darker gray at night. So let's do it this way, that we just set the border properties individually here. And yeah, mountains are not square shaped, so we rotate everything by 45 degrees and make everything transitionable because we want the mountains to transition between day and night. So we take the transition duration here and take the ease in, ease out easing function. And the top of the mountain, I want it to be a little bit rounded, so that's why I take a part of the switch size again, because proportionally, let's make it 1% of the switch size. Yeah, let's actually just give it a try. Border color black, but anyway, already black. So yeah, since we haven't defined a width and a height, so let's now do this via the nth child selector. For the first mountain, which is going to be the one in the back, we will have the width calculated as 9% of the switch size. 90%, not 9%. And for the height, it's actually going to be the very same here. For the top, let's, yeah, very nice. I can see I need to set the overflow to hidden on that one. And the top position is going to be 1%, so slightly shifted down such that the edges are not visible there. Very good. So let's actually put some, not here, but a little bit up there. Overflow to hidden. No, actually that's the wrong one. I want it to be on the label itself, actually. Let's put it here. Because everything that laps out of it, yeah, needs to be invisible. Very nice. Okay, so that was the first one. And for the second one, here, there. Let's make this one a little bit smaller, only 45%, and a little bit more shifted upwards. And I want it to be on the right-hand side of the first mountain. So we shift left by 60% to the right, which will actually make it look nicer and overlap a little bit with the sun. Quite good. So what I'm missing now is that the border top left radius, yeah, is somehow missing. And I think 1% is a little bit too less. So let's make it 10%. Yeah, this looks so much better. Now we have rounded caps on the mountains. Very nice. And now let's give them the day color, which is going to be part of the checked state here. So on the mountains here, inside every element is going to be having a background color of a little bit lighter gray and a border color, which is a little bit darker. And that way we should actually see now pretty gray mountains now. I think I put it in the wrong spot. Yeah, it actually is one bracket too far below. So let's put it up here. Very nice. And I think the background color, the border color is still being overridden. A8. Yeah, there's 1/8 too much here. Yeah, very nice. So we have mountains at day with a little bit of a sun. And on a beautiful day, what actually is going to be nice is having a cloud here on the left side. So we need to add some markup for that. So that the clouds are in front of the sun, but behind the mountains. So we add another div for the decorations. And I'll consist the cloud of, let's say, 4 elements, and they will also be circle shaped. And if you position them right, a beautiful cloud will actually come up. So let's do it this way, that we have a few decoration divs, which we're going to be styling now. So let's first set up the default styling, which is now somewhere in here. We have the mountains. Now let's put also the decoration styling here. So for each decoration tag, it's going to be positioned absolutely. Because what we're going to do later is that we will be morphing the clouds into stars, and they will also be positioned absolutely. So we're going to put this directly here, so works every time. And now for the actual checked stylings here again, let's put me a comment here, checked styles. For the decorations, let's put it actually with a white background color, because we have beautiful white clouds and they're going to be circle shaped, which is why we're going to put them actually for 50%. Now let's actually set for each child the coordinates individually. Here we are override actually the border radius a little bit, because the base one will be stretched. So we also need to calculate the border radius a little bit differently, through 30% of the switch size, and the height, because this one needs to be the same. That's why I can copy it here directly there. So I want to have it basically same size, not same shape as the switch, and the width is going to be let's actually put it for 85% of the switch size, and you can see it already comes up. So now all we need is the top position now. Let's put this one for actually, yeah, let's make it 60% here. And on the left side, let's make it 45%. So we'll shift a little bit there, and you can see perfectly works. So the clouds are a little bit behind the mountain, the first part of the cloud. And now let's actually put more styling on the other children to build the cloud itself. So let's just do this one here. So we're going to modify this here. This is going to be 35% on the height and the width. So we make it circle shaped. Let's put it on 50% of the switch side on top and 35%. So yeah, a little bit more to the left. And now for the third child, it's going to be a little bit smaller. Just 30%, 50% on the left is okay, but let's shift it a little bit more upwards and a little bit more to the right. So we have this cloudy shape here. And now finally for the fourth decorational element, we're going to have this one a little bit larger, 40% of the switch size and 40% of the switch size on top and 55% to the left. So yeah, we have a nice little cloud here. Looks great actually. And to make it a little bit more playful, I want the clouds to vibe a little bit, which means that each circle of the cloud will change its size throughout a few seconds. So let's set up a few keyframes here. Let's call it vibe, the animation itself, which is going to be 0%, where we have the transform on scale 1, and I can then actually say then from and to, where we're going to transform to 20% larger, and we're going to set this animation on the decoration element itself. Let's make it slow, 4 seconds, and of course we ease in out, and let's make it run infinitely often. And now for the animation direction, if the animation has reached its end, I want to reverse it and go forward again. So that's why we use alternate here on the animation direction. And here, messed something up, infinite. And now we should be able to see the clouds are starting to moving. And now the entire cloud is moving, and this is actually not what I want it to be. I want the individual elements of the cloud to move differently. So that's why we're going to set a little bit of transition animation and delays and durations. So the first one can actually stay like that. And on the second one, we're going to set an animation delay of 300 milliseconds. And we are going to shorten the duration a little bit back to 2.5 seconds. For the third one, we're going to choose a different offset of 800 milliseconds and change speed again a little bit. And for the last one, let's use a little bit more of a delay, 1400, and again a little bit of a different speed. And now you can see that the cloud parts are vibing a little bit differently, so it looks actually quite nice. And I think that since the cloud is a little bit extreme with that pure white, let's actually make this one with an opacity of 0.5, which will make it all a little bit more dim. Very nice. So the sun is still the primary element. Yeah, that's what's needed for the day phase. Now let's head right over to the night phase. So keep watching part 2, stay tuned and subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you next time.